By doing kirtan for money, one gets sinful reactions. It's very clear in Hari Bhakti Vilas that if one performs kirtan with the motivation of family maintenance or anything like that for monetary remuneration for doing his kirtan, then who does the kirtan? Who hears the kirtan, and who pays for such kirtan to be performed, so-called kirtan, it's not kirtan, it was imitation kirtan, that they all become infected with material desires. They get sinful reactions even. It's mentioned that they get sinful reactions for doing kirtan like that. It is, aparadhana. Of course, someone can argue that, well, even if we are offenders, because in Prema Vivarta by Jagadananda Pandit, it mentions that if someone, has faith because of having heard from Sampradaya, someone has faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then his chanting will gradually purify him from material contamination. But gradually means how gradually? Who knows how gradually? 700 lifetimes gradually. Bahu Janma Kari Ari Shravana Kirtana. You may become freed from material contamination, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get prema. You may gradually become free in 700 lifetimes. You'll get so much piety from chanting the offended name by demanding money in return for your chanting, that you'll get so much piety that the accumulation of the piety that you gain for chanting like that for 700 lifetimes, it will help you to get the intelligence to finally understand that you shouldn't be chanting for, with the expectation of monetary remuneration for your chanting. Chanting is meant to be done purely as jagya, for the satisfaction of Krishna, without expectation of anything in return. That's sacrifice in the mode of goodness, please. That's not even, transcendental jagya. That's practically like even on the, Naishkam Karma Yoga, platform. You perform some jagya, but without any expectation of anything in return. That's not even on the Shuddha Bhakti platform. Shuddha Bhakti platform, there's no question of your thinking in terms of being attached or unattached to some kind of fruit of result from your action. But you're performing Sankirtan, Jagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. You're performing Sankirtan simply for the purpose of satisfying the Jagya Purush, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Kali Yuga. There's no question of thinking in terms of that I have to perform this Jagya, and therefore, if I'm going to perform this Jagya, I must demand a certain, amount for my performance of Jagya. Then it's actually not performance of Jagya. It comes to the platform of practically mundane karma, or vikarma, because it's action which is against the regulative principles of the Vedic literatures. Vikarma means sinful reactions. When Hari Bhakti Vilas says that one gets sinful reactions by performing kirtan with the expectation of monetary reward, then that means that it's come to the platform of vikarma. It's not even karma. It's not even karma yoga. Supposedly chanting the holy name, but you're not chanting the holy name. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says that those who are namaparadis, that they appear to be chanting the holy name, they're chanting the syllables of the name, but namakshara nama nahi. The syllables of the name don't constitute nam. The pure name is there when Krishna, Nam, agrees to appear, to dance on your tongue in the form of those syllables. It may be appearing just like you have the form of the Murti. You buy it from the Murti Wala shop for X number of rupees, basically paying for the brass. So the point is that imitation kirtan means that just like, as Bhaktisiddhanta, I was mentioning Bhaktisiddhanta's statement regarding this, he says that Ravana tried to abduct Sita, but did he get Sita? No, he didn't get Sita. But rather Sita presented a Mayic form of herself as she, slipped behind the veil of Yogamaya. So the real, Sita was not, in the grubby midst of Ravana. Similarly, if one has a mentality to exploit the name of Krishna or the name of Radha, what's the difference between that and the Ravana mentality? Ravana wanted to exploit Sita for his own sense gratification. So similarly, if someone, on the plea of propagating the holy name or something like that, but has anyabhilasita, has ulterior motives, if you take away the money, is he going to continue to do kirtan? Will he do the kirtan? Will he come to do your 24-hour kirtan if you don't offer him 20,000 rupees or whatever, or $20,000, 10,000 pounds or whatever it may be, for coming to do your kirtan? It's better to have, it's better to offer a weed picked by your own hand than to offer a flower, purchased at the gate. You can purchase a flower, but if you with devotion you pick this weed, by your own hand and offer it may not be as luxuriant looking as the flower that you bought at the gate, but the weed was picked with loving devotion, whereas the other one was just picked with monetary purposes involved. Similar kind of thing. It's better to be chanting Namavas. It may be that, the Namaparadi, he accepts, okay, we accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I need that money. Because after all, I gave up my high-paying job. I could be raking in the big bucks, but, to compensate for my giving up my job, so that I could go on with my, imitation kirtan, I'm going to demand X amount of rubles for my kirtan performance. How is that any different than selling the holy name? You think Krishna Nama is so cheap that you can buy a kirtan? What's the difference between that and the thing that Prabhupada complained about concerning the professional kirtaniyas? They make their kirtan group and do their gigging here and there all over, Bengal. They support their families that way also. And they do their kirtan performances. Prabhupada says that they may be able to, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can read it in the purport, He says that they may be able to increase their bile secretion that way, but they'll never get prema. They'll never get prema that way. And nor can they inculcate bhakti shakti into the hearts of the people who are hearing their so-called kirtan. So then what is the use of the affair? Why have a 24-hour kirtan? You know, better you guys just get together and, you know, you don't have to have some luxuriant, you know, Shastra Sangeet Wala or someone come, to show their stuff and make you think that, you know, you're getting something, you know, special. You guys just get together and perform kirtan, you know, from your heart with whatever little you have. And you'll get, you know, miles and miles and miles ahead, bhakti mileage-wise, than, you know, paying for someone to come. It's one thing, you know, you give them their up and down fare, that's only gentlemanly. But it's not that that they have to get their salary too. You know, you give them up and down fare so that the Jagyik Brahmins can come and selflessly perform their Jagya for the satisfaction of Vishnu, and, you know, without any expectation of return. It's not that they're going to demand that I must get the dakshin. You can give them pranami, and that's okay. They can accept some, you know, without any greed, humbly accept whatever little pranami is offered them by the Yajaman. But it's not that they demand that I must get X amount of money, otherwise, you know, forget it, I'm not going to come do, you know, kirtan. Because I'm not, you know, getting my, you know, wage packet. So Brahmins can, you know, patan, yajan, dan, pratigraha, they can, you know, accept dan. That is their profession. The profession of a Brahmin is to accept charity. But if he's a grihastha especially, a grihastha is still, whatever his profession is, if his profession is to accept charity as a Brahmin, then still he has to give 50% of the charity that he receives in charity to Vaishnavas and Brahmins. It's not that he's saying that, oh, I'm begging, therefore I'm not working hard like an ass, doing my, you know, karma or whatever, and giving charity as the fruit of my action. But the fruit of your action is whatever you receive from begging, because your action is begging. So you have to give 50% to the service of the Vaishnavas, the service of the Brahmins. And 25% you set aside for emergency expenditures, and 25% only you spend for your maintenance. And that's receiving charity done as a qualified Brahmin. Otherwise, you know, what's the difference between you and a Sudra? Or a Vaishya selling your wares? Brahmin he performs Jagya. He has the right to perform Jagya. Those who are actually chanting the pure name, they're certainly, whether they're initiated as Brahmin or not initiated as Brahmin, they're certainly better than any Brahmin. And they're certainly qualified to perform Sankirtan Jagya. But if they're chanting the pure name, then they have to be chanting the pure name. It's not that they're, you know, doing business with the holy name. That is not the pure name. Only the pure name can inculcate Bhakti Shakti into the heart.